There's going to be a little latency at the beginning here. Probably. It'll catch up. First and foremost, guys, I want to say hello. We were not here last Monday, as you guys all know. We're back today. And today is a free-flowing discussion with no topic. First and foremost, to my right, I want to introduce Justin. Justin, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
I'm doing well, man. And to the bottom right, my bottom right, I don't know if it's weird for you guys how you're looking at it, but we have Stone Gasman, who is a great supporter of the channel and buddy that I met through Christian Hanahara. Stone, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Up here in New York, it's finally dry because last week was the day after tomorrow because all that rain and flash flooding that came in, it practically filled the subways by 75% water. All the rats were having fun.
Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yes, exactly. They thought they were in a water park or something. Apparently. Yeah, so that's the way it is here in New York now.
Well, glad it's getting better. I want to say to everybody that's in the chat, Wes, Jay, Rudy, Sam, Ken, Taylor, Catman, Matthew, Brandon, Sam, Alan, Count Von Strange, goodness gracious, John. And look at that. It's Bill Tyrell. Bill, It's time to get scary. My favorite part about Monday, maybe the only good thing about Monday, is this live stream. Bill, first of all, I want to thank you for the super gracious super chat. That means a lot to me. And I am having a whale of a time with Google right now trying to get access to my funds because I still haven't been able to get access to them. But I appreciate that. We hope we don't let you down this Monday. We love having you in here. So thank you for being a very gracious supporter of the channel. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And really quick, since this is a free-flowing discussion, I want to go with one of the first things I see that I want to talk to you guys about. And that is T. Parker Evans mentioning Venom being moved to October 1st. And the reason I want to talk about this is because this has obviously been a very talked about topic recently. People saying October is loaded. Venom and Halloween going against each other, yada, yada, yada. I'm stoked for this. I'm really, really happy that they moved it. Halloween's going to have its own weekend where it doesn't have to worry about a new wide release next to it. And I'm very happy about that. Did you guys know of this? If not, or if you did, what do you think of it?
You want to go first, Stone?
I wanted to double check something. Go ahead.
No, I'm excited for this because I, like many, heard about Venom opening the same weekend as Halloween Kills, and on top of that, and so many movies coming out in October, I was like, I really don't want them both to open the same weekend. I'm excited for both of them, but if there was going to be one movie I was going to see that weekend, it was going to be Halloween Kills. And for me, when I heard that they were both opening the same weekend, I know some people were saying Venom was going to be a bigger movie. Some people were saying Halloween Kills. I was always for Halloween Kills because I thought, well, it's October. People want to go see a horror movie. But the news today, I am really excited that they did bump Venom back to October 1st. I'm like, there you go, Sony.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on the whole situation, Stone?
Actually, that's a smart business move, I would say. I mean, they don't have to clash next to each other, and Halloween practically has the 15th all to itself because the only other big release that weekend is The Last Duel, directed by Ridley Scott and starring Ben Affleck with a screenplay by Matt Damon. That's the only other. Halloween Kills is going to kill it, I'm sure. But
yeah.
And I'll be honest with you guys. I will see Halloween Kills at the Alamo Draft House in Brooklyn. And I'm doing it for one reason and one reason only, is because I'm so jazzed that they brought back Kyle Richards.
Me too.
That's a massive plus because I love her in The Watcher in the Woods, of course, but it's pretty cool that they were able to get her back from the original Halloween. What was her character's name in the first Halloween again?
Lindsay Wallace.
Yes. Thank you. So that's the number one reason why I'm going to be seeing Halloween Kills. And I'm glad they moved Venom too. I'm not sure if I will see Venom because I never saw the first Venom, and the feedback I heard on it was that, some of my comic book fans said it was like a guilty pleasure almost, but I haven't felt compelled to see the original yet, so that's why I'm probably going to pass on the Venom sequel in the theaters.
I love Venom.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Oh my goodness, am I sideways? Okay, I was just gonna say, I loved Venom.
Me
what's
too.
happening? Okay.
I
really did love Venom, and I'm excited for Venom. Let There Be Carnage, but I'll tell you, I was not a fan of the idea of them going against each other because here's the thing, and I think a lot of us as just film fans in general, like as cinephiles, let's just be honest, we are. When it comes to COVID and the way we've seen the theatrical, movie industry really take a massive hit, I want to see every movie get their day. I want to see, everybody have their opportunity to rake in as much cash as possible. And regardless of which one you thought would win, if they're pitted against each other on the same weekend, they're going to be taking money from each other. It's just going to happen. Some fans are going to go see one rather than the other on that weekend. So I was very happy to hear that, because I'm one person that has always said and continues to say I do not believe in the doom and gloom. The theatrical movie theater experience is dying. It's going away. It's not going to happen. I don't care what anybody says. It's not going to happen. And we're going to have a month of October that's going to see some just stupid box office returns. You're going to have Halloween Kills. You're going to have Venom. You're going to have No Time to Die. You're going to have Dune. I believe that's in October, right? Dune.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
October 22nd.
So you're going to see a lot. The Eternals. I'm not a Marvel fan, but I know there's a lot of Marvel fans excited for that one. So, I mean, you're just going to see a crazy amount of money poured into the domestic box office that weekend. And I think that is awesome for the future of theatrically released movies. So it's definitely something that I'm really pumped for.
Now, two things I want to mention real quick. Stone, I'm with you on Kyle Richards. That is the reason why I'm really looking forward to Halloween Kills, is because I'm a big Kyle Richards fan. I know Rudy's a Beverly Hills fan. I am too. I'm not going to lie. I watch it. I love it. And I was really excited when she was talking about filming Halloween Kills last season. But the other thing is, I think, what is the movie called? Shang-Chi?
Shang-Chi.
Thank you. That movie proves that people still are going to go to the movies. Mm-hmm. I know we're in a time right now where some people are still weary to go to the movies, but the way that the box office was for that movie, it proves that movie theaters are still wanted. People still want to go see movies, and people are going to go see movies this October. So yeah, I mean, movie theaters aren't going anywhere. I know maybe almost a year ago, there was an article that, some articles said that movie theaters were dying. And I'm like, well, they're not dying. They're coming back. They've always been here, but they're coming back after this year that we've had. And people want to go to the movies. So
yeah. And on that topic, Stone, I want to ask you really quick. What do you think of? Are you a big proponent of the theatrical movie going experience, and are you someone that doesn't buy into the whole doom and gloom? It's going to die off.
I don't buy in the whole doom and gloom that it's going to die off. I mean, at the very least, we'll have art house theaters and drive-ins. At the very, very least, the multiplexes may go away. Which, to be perfectly honest, I mean, my number one rule when I go to the movie theater is my biggest pet peeve is I cannot stand cell phones going off in theaters. And, unfortunately, in the past 10 years, that's been an unfortunate trend as cell phone technology has developed and everything. And that's part of the reason why years ago, I used to go to the theater all the time. I would see almost a movie a week. But in the past 10 years, that's decreased significantly, because I mean, most movies, unless I feel that it's worth seeing on the big screen, like I do, Halloween, I think would be worth seeing on the big screen. And I was going to add, so I don't think the theater experience is dying or going away. I just think it's going to, shrink a little bit. I mean, a lot of people are loving streaming, and I think for certain movies, I think they're ideal for streaming. But I also wanted to throw out as an addendum to, the movies come out in October. There is one movie I'm looking forward to even more than Halloween Kills. Only one, and that's Edgar Wright's One Night in Soho with Anya Taylor-Joy. I avoid trailers like the plague now. I caught the trailer accidentally one day, and I was like, oh, I got to see this. I mean, I'm a huge fan of The Witch, Robert Eggers' The Witch, and I've loved Anya Taylor-Joy and practically everything else that she's done since then. So from what I understand, this is going to be like a psychological horror thriller from Edgar Wright. It's going to be something completely different than he's used to in the past. I mean, because I really liked Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and of course Shaun of the Dead and The World's End and all those good. Oh, he's such a fun filmmaker. So I'm really looking forward to what he does with One Night in Soho.
Yeah. That trailer looks very interesting. It's very hard to put your finger on what you're going to get from it when you watch that trailer. And normally when we went and saw Candyman, My fiance after that trailer was like, what did I just watch? Because they showed that trailer and I was like, exactly, right? Like you have no real idea. Like you get like little glimpses of like, okay, is this about? And then you're like, wait, what? Okay, what is going on? And that's a perfect trailer because it doesn't give you anything. It just leaves you asking questions. So, but Bobby in the chat mentioned something that I think is very true and is actually long overdue, saying that Jason Blum was quoted as saying he doesn't believe theaters are going to die off, but Jason Blum believes that movies just won't run as long in theaters. It'll be shorter time from theater release to Blu-ray. And I've always felt that should happen. I don't need a movie to play for 4 months. I mean, you get to a point where these movies are pulling in a couple $1,000s a day. No one's going to see them anymore. You know, put it on physical media and let us own it so we can delve into the special features and so we can get a great transfer of the film and like let us have that rather than having to go shell out the money to go see a movie in theaters 3 months after it came out because it's still not out on physical media. So that's a really good point, Bobby. And I do agree. I am one that I have pretty much every streaming service because I can't help myself. And so I have Paramount Plus, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, and Disney Plus. You know, I'm totally cool with the whole straight to streaming thing. Like it's not a big deal. But there are certain movies that need to be seen on the big screen. And I believe Halloween Kills is one of those. I believe Dune is going to be one of those. I believe Venom will be one of those. You know, these spectacles of movies where there's going to be a lot going on. They're loud. They're colorful. Like sitting on your couch and watching that is not going to do it justice like going and seeing it in the theater is. That, you know, that's my opinion.
No, I was going to say, I love HBO Max. You know, I have most of the streaming too, you know. The one thing about, and again, I love HBO Max, so I'm trying not to knock it, but the thing with that, releasing it the same day in theater situation is I think that is the only thing that is going to kill movies from Warner Brothers because, you know, what was it? The Suicide Squad. That movie did not do well at the box office because people were able to sit at home and watch it. And while, yes, that's great and convenient, a film like Dune, like you said, that's meant to be seen on the big screen. I'm afraid that movie's going to fail because that's also going from the same day.
It's at a disadvantage because it's such a littered October. You're going to have very hardcore fans go see Dune in theaters, but your casuals will be seeing Venom, No Time to Die, Halloween Kills, and Dune will unfortunately get lost in the shuffle, I think.
Well, that, but also I think because of the results of Suicide Squad, you know,
yes,
people aren't gonna go see Dune in theaters when they can go see it at home. Which, again, but
they should,
But I was gonna say
they should see it in theaters,
They should, and I'm going to. If you're still weary to go to the theaters, I understand. But I think a film like that, like, you know, ever since I saw the teaser trailer, I've been so excited for that, and I just feel like with any of these Warner Brother titles, you know, people aren't going to go to the theater unless you're a diehard theater fan. And if they're movies you really want to see on the big screen, we've seen with like the Suicide Squad that people aren't going to go to the theaters to see those if they can watch them on the same day at home. So,
yes, really quick before it gets lost in the shuffle, I wanted to say Apollo Balboa and Art, everybody that's trickling in right now, hello. Apollo asks if any of us have seen the second trailer for Halloween Kills. I have. Now here's the thing. I figured not a lot of you guys had seen it. I guess it was showing in select theaters in front of Candyman, which was weird. People were like filming it and they were like, this isn't the trailer that I was, you know, I've already seen. This is different. Someone DM'd it to me on Instagram. And I watched it. It's only about a minute long. There's not a ton of new footage. You get a different opening, a different ending, a little bit more of the mob, and you get a lot of Jamie Lee lines in it. You get the line of her saying, I want to take off his mask and watch the light leave his eyes. which I thought was a great line. I really did like it. But I have seen it. I'm not going to do a reaction to it until we have Universal put the trailer out in 1080p for everyone to see it. But yes, Bobby T. Parker, they're saying that it's on YouTube if you want to watch it. If you're weary about it, guys, you know, I know for me and Justin, we're like diehard Halloween fans. I know I do love that Stone has a love for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 as well. We got another one in this group that loves that film.
I do.
But I want to say, if you guys are worried about seeing it, like I don't want anything spoiled, it doesn't show much new stuff. It really doesn't. So I don't think it spoils like anything. But yeah, I'll wait till it comes out, you know, officially to react to it. But yeah, let's see. Yes, Stone gained your respect. Yeah, Stone loves Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. We had a big discussion one night on a stream with Christian on Christian's channel where it was a love fest for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Now, the chat was not a love fest for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, but everybody on camera, it was a love fest.
I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I wish it would have done better at the box office. I think for what it was kind of a hit, but I love that movie. I'm so glad Stone, you love it.
It made 4 times its budget. So it made money.
Yeah.
The problem was it made half of what 2007's made. So they looked at it and they were like, uh-oh, people aren't as interested anymore, which wasn't true. You released it in August. I'll never, I just don't understand that. H2O did well in July, but H2O is the only Halloween movie that wasn't released in fall or right on the cusp of fall that did well. Rob Zombie's Halloween came out Labor Day weekend. So it was, you know, beginning of September. And there was nothing else in theaters, like nothing else. And it was a remake to Halloween. But if you're going to make a sequel to that, you might want to put that out in October. Just
real quick, I just want to say Apollo, Rocky versus Drago. I'm so excited to see it. So really looking forward to that trailer.
Stone likes Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. That's why Nick has him on here, spreading the word. Absolutely. So I wanted to, guys, if you don't know Stone, I know if you guys watch Christian Hannah Horror, Region Free with Pizzal and Lauren and the guys, Stone frequents a lot of I believe you are a Region Free member, if I'm correct.
Yes,
right?
I am.
Yes. So he's usually on Region Free. So Stone, I want to give the floor to you for a second and just tell us, you know, what's the channel? What do you mainly do? What do you have coming up? You know, like, let the people know. Floor's yours.
Oh, well, I mean, I've been part of the Region Free gang for the past year, and before that, when it was known as the Sausage Factory, I was with the Sausage Factory for the very last year that they did that. Christian, I loved him when he said one day, if the Sausage Factory still haunts you, you're not alone. Somebody should make a shirt of that. But at any rate, I've been just podcasting with them for the past couple years, and I finally started a YouTube channel this year, which I decided to devote to audio commentaries. The thing is that I love physical media, as you can see. I am sad as to the dwindling sales of physical media, and I figured, you know what? There's a lot of these distribution companies, a lot of them do, but some of them don't, where they don't care about bonus material. And I thought to myself, why not start a channel where I can just do audio commentaries on films, mostly that are 50 years old. I've been doing like 50th anniversary audio commentaries. So earlier this year, I did The Abominable Dr. Phibes. I did The Velvet Vampire, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The best one, the one I still can't believe this happened. We watched The Devils, the Ken Russell film from 1971. And believe me, I never thought in my life I would see a film where a bunch of nuns fight over Jesus's scrotum. I never thought in a million years I would watch a film like that. And well, last month was really great because on my channel I had 2 audio commentaries with people that are involved in documentaries based on those movies. In the beginning of the month, it was Howard the Duck, where I had Ernie Trinidad, the director of Howard the Duck, How to Stop Quacking and Love the Bomb, which will be released later this year. And finally, Return to Oz, which was just last week. I had the writer and producer of Remembering Return to Oz, which is a feature-length documentary about the making of that movie. That will be coming out later this year, hopefully around Halloween weekend. So stay tuned for that. So I've been lucky enough to get some pretty cool players on my commentaries. And hopefully the next one I want to do is, of course, I haven't scheduled it yet or put out an announcement yet, but I do want to do Mario Bava's A Bay of Blood, aka Twitch of the Death Nerve, which came out 50 years ago this month. And of course, eventually, I also want to do later on in the year, I want to do A Clockwork Orange,
Yes.
Diamonds Are Forever, the James Bond film, and some other 1971 films, you know, and to, you know, give them some attention and like, are these essential films, you know, and that kind of thing, and had to have a panel to discuss while watching and everything. And it's been a blast so far. It's been kind of somewhat of a dream for me, I think, to kind of do audio commentaries for movies, and to be as incendiary as possible in everything that is being said in the commentary. So yeah, it's been a blast so far. I mean, so far I have about 10 commentaries on my channel. There's more coming soon, of course. And like I said, going back to Halloween 2 real quick, I mean, controversially, it's my second favorite Halloween next to John Carpenter's original.
Same here.
I do prefer it over Rick Rosenthal's version. That's going to upset a lot of people. Look, I love you guys. I mean, we all have different opinions. The thing is that the Halloween franchise is a tough pill for me to swallow because there's really only a few that I love or like and that I would be willing to return again. I mean, my franchises are Child's Play, Evil Dead, and Psycho. Halloween is one of those where the ones that I do like, I will be more than happy to rewatch every Halloween, which would include the original. I would throw in there Halloween 3 and H2O, and also Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Those are probably the 4 primary ones I like to return to, because I'm watching so many other horror films. You know, I mean, I don't want to, you know, devote all that time to one franchise when I'd rather watch another franchise in its whole. But at any rate, I mean, that's more or less where I stand as far as the Halloween franchise, and I'm hoping Halloween Kills is going to be something spectacular. I really hope it will be, and I'm also hoping that Halloween Ends lives up to its title and promises to end the franchise. Just let's end it. Let's
never.
End it.
I want 25 more Michael Myers movies by the time I'm 40. Damn it.
That's
no, I get you. But yeah, I know, and that's what I was gonna say. Justin and I, we are just whores for Michael Myers, so like we can't help ourselves.
Yeah.
But real quick, Jaden wants to know, and go ahead and plug your channel. What's the channel name that you do your commentaries on, just so everybody in the live chat can head on over there?
Oh, okay. It's just Stone Gasman. I can provide the link for it.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, man. But you know, because we are in the business here of anytime we have somebody on here on Mondays, I love to give them the floor to talk about their channel. And a lot of our, you know, our subs and our supporters, they'll go to your channel, they'll flock to your channel, they'll throw you some subs, they get involved in the chat, and it's just a way to kind of spread the love and get people to know new channels. You know. But let's see. Yes, Mustafa Akkad and Donald Pleasant said 22, Nick. You're absolutely right, Art. But all right, and that was one thing I was going to say. Stone already touched on it, but I was going to say that to you guys in the chat. Stone is very he is an old school cinephile. in the sense of like he loves the older movies. Like that is his bread and butter. Now, I don't want to speak for him, but from what the conversations I've had with him, it's not that he doesn't like, he loves Robert Eggers' The Witch, loves that film. But his right up his alley, I would say we're talking, would you say anywhere from 60s, 70s type era would you say that's your favorite? 50s through 70s, maybe? Like, what's your favorite era?
Oh, the 1970s, without a doubt. I mean, I have a lot of love for the 80s because I grew up in the 80s, obviously. I mean, the nostalgia for the 80s is quite strong. But in terms of film as a whole, and even music as a whole, the 1970s, I mean, my favorite horror films of the 70s include like Black Christmas, Texas Chainsaw, Halloween, of course. I mean, Jaws, of course. I mean, those are the ones that I love to continually return to. But also, let me just throw out there real quick in terms of the 1970s, some interesting facts. The scariest movie I've ever seen in my life is not a horror film, but it came out in 1979, and it's called The China Syndrome, which is about a nuclear accident being covered up. And it premiered 12 days before 3 Mile Island happened. It actually predicted 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. There's a whole scene where Jane Fonda and Michael Douglas, who plays a reporter and her cameraman, respectively, they're showing this footage that they had shot and stolen in the plant of, it about to, go into the earth and cause, massive catastrophe and millions with cancer and everything, and they're telling them, this would cause excuse me, sorry. It would render an area the size of Pennsylvania permanently uninhabitable, not to mention the cancer that would show up later. Now, imagine living in Pennsylvania where 3 Mile Island happened, and you're watching that movie on the big screen. Just imagine how terrified they must have been. I mean, no, seriously, Jack Lemmon, Michael Douglas, Jane Fonda, pretty much the scariest movie I've ever seen. It's also got Wilford Brimley in his film debut. Of course, he was in The Thing, and he does so much with so little. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's also got James Hampton, Teen Wolf's dad. Marvelous cast in a terrific thriller that I think it deserves a lot more attention. I think, especially among the horror. If you want to be scared, that movie.
I need to check it out.
Oh yes, definitely. And I mean, check it out. I mean, and two of my favorite films of all time are 1970s films. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, which was written by Roger Ebert. I own a original screenplay of that, which he did in 1969. He wrote it approximately 5 weeks after the Manson murders, and of course, at the end of the movie, there's this Manson type massacre, and of course, in the original Valley of the Dolls was Sharon Tate, who sadly was a victim of the massacre. But Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, I'm telling you right now, it's the ultimate satire of Hollywood. It makes fun of everything Hollywood. It's unbelievable. And as a bonus, you get Ed King, the late Ed King from Leonard Skinner, with the band Strawberry Alarm Clock playing at this rich record producer's home. I mean, it's basically about a trio of starlets who become superstars in Hollywood, and it's like the best way I can describe it, even though everybody says it's indescribable. It's basically Rocky Horror Picture Show meets Josie and the Pussycats with a dash of Helter Skelter. I can't think of a better description for Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. And
sounds like an acid trip.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome, believe me. And my third favorite film of all time, which is from 1971, is a Hal Ashby film called Harold and Maude, which is Bud Cort plays a rich kid. He wants to commit suicide. I mean, in the opening sequence, he hangs himself. His mother comes in, looks over, and just gets on the phone to cancel a dinner that she was having that night because, oh, here he is just trying to get attention again. Harold and Maude is a cult comedy classic because what happened was, even though it bombed in theaters, it eventually ended up as number 45 on the AFI's all-time comedy list. Legendary songs by Cat Stevens, and also starring from Rosemary's Baby, who plays Maude, is I can't believe her name is escaping me right now, but she won the Oscar as the neighbor in Rosemary's Baby, and she is wonderful as Maude. Ruth Gordon, yeah, her name just came to me. So, and just to top it all off, and I'll throw it back to you guys, is that my favorite film of all time is actually from the 1940s, and I'm currently, more or less, even though it's going to take forever, I'm currently working on a book about the making of that movie. It's called Best Years of Our Lives. It's about 3 veterans returning home from World War II. And it won 9 Oscars, and including Best Picture in every country it came out in, including Japan, which we had bombed only a year before. And in my opinion, it's the only film ever made in the history of motion pictures that you could say truly healed the world. So I'm determined to actually write a book, not only in dedication to that movie, but also to all World War II veterans, because I mean, my grandfather, he took 5 bullets on D-Day, and I served in the Navy for 8 years myself, so I have a long military lineage, and so I mean, that's what I'm doing more or less in my spare time, while at the same time doing Region Free and these commentaries and everything. So, and of course, working full time in New York, which is quite an experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, Big A, first of all, thanks, man. I appreciate your support. I hope that you like what you see so far, and I hope you stick around. Adam Jeffrey asked a question, and I want to address that next with the 3 of us. But before we get there, Movie Watch Daily, what's up, man? Said he's been sitting on his Criterion of Beyond Valley of the Dolls for for a little bit now, but needs to finally watch it. And then, yes, Sam, I know you guys like these earlier streams over in the UK. Anything I can do to accommodate some of you guys so you can be a part of the live discussion. Right now, we've got 40 people in here. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't already. Would greatly appreciate that. Love your faces. And Adam Jeffrey's question is an interesting one because we're starting to see kind of the landscape of the box office take place. And this is just prognostication. This is what we think. But Adam Jeffrey wants to know, what do we think Halloween Kills will do domestically in its run, theatrically? Justin, I want to throw that to you first. What do you think? Give me your opening weekend prediction, and then give me what you think it'll probably round out at the end.
I think it's going to open with, and this is me, I think it's going to open between 30 to 35 million. Now that Venom is not there, look at Candyman. Look at the first weekend Candyman came out, and that surprised a lot of people because even like the studio was thinking 15 million.
And it only dropped 50. It only dropped 50% in its second weekend this past week. Only a 50% drop for an R-rated horror movie is fantastic.
Yeah, and so I think with the long wait that we've had for Halloween Kills, especially if you loved Halloween 2018 and you've been waiting for that, and then I'm not the biggest fan of the last movie, but I've been waiting for Halloween Kills for a year, like everybody. So I think it's going to gross its opening weekend 30 to 35 million. And what did Halloween 2018 gross as far as as a whole?
Worldwide, I believe worldwide, Halloween 2018 was about 252 million at the end of its run. And domestic opening weekend, I believe, was 67 million or 66 million. It was definitely front loaded, but it it made buku bucks for a horror movie that was a $20 million budget. They absolutely had a healthy bottom line after that film.
I think, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if that one made that much, you said over 200 million. I can't.
255 million worldwide. Thank you, T. Parker.
I think this one, I don't know if it's going to make as much as the original film did, or the 2018 movie, but I think it's going to be in the $200 million range. I think it's going to be close up there with Halloween 2018. I think people are ready for this. And we're getting a October Halloween film. I mean, that brings up people's spirits. It's like, it is now October. It's the Halloween season. Let's go see a Michael Myers movie. So again, for me, opening weekend, $30 to $35 million, and I think very close to what Halloween 2018 made. Halloween 2018 made after its run. So
I'm going to be bullish. I'm going to be bullish on this one, and I'm taking a comp from earlier this year. I'm going to say Halloween Kills opening weekend, 50 million plus. And I say that because look at what A Quiet Place Part 2 did in its opening weekend. 56, 57 million in its opening weekend. And why was that? The first movie was well received, box office hit. In the middle of a pandemic, still, they did those numbers. Let's look at Halloween Kills. Previous movie, very well received, box office hit, and just like A Quiet Place Part 2, delayed over a year. I'm going to say that the hype train is real. And I think it's going to, I really think it's going to do 50 million opening weekend, anywhere from 50, 55. I really could see it. You got to look at this movie as like, if you want a close comparison, Candyman, we horror fans, we really love the first Candyman. It's a very underrated, underappreciated 90s horror film. One of my favorite from the 90s, if not my favorite. But that film and that series, they're not super popular to the casual moviegoer. They're really not. It's because you only had one truly good movie out of the three leading up to the new one. So you didn't have a franchise. There wasn't this huge fan base. They made over 22 million opening weekend for a sequel to a movie that's 30 years old. So I just think that Halloween has so much more brand recognition, name recognition, I should say. And I think it's going to, I don't think it's going to surpass 2018, but I did say 2 years ago, I thought it was going to. I really did think it was going to surpass 2018 box office wise, because I felt that the hype was it was just palpable. And then with the delays, and now obviously you have less theaters open and limited capacity, I don't think the chance is even really there for it to surpass 2018's opening weekend. But I think it's going to do like 50 million. I really do. But I'm bullish. Justin's a little more conservative on it.
Well, here's the thing. I can hype myself up and go, I want the movie to make 50 million. I want it to make 55 million. Like, that is what I want. I mean, I would love for a Halloween film to succeed. But I'm thinking, okay, Justin, Justin, don't hype yourself up too much. I'm just thinking as like a 30, 35 million thing. But I hope.
Now, what about you?
I hope it makes some money.
I think it'll do just fine. I mean, if it won't be on par with the first one, I think it'll be close. Can I see it actually beating 2018 numbers? It's got a good chance that I think as any sequel has had in the past few years. I'll give it that.
True.
I don't know if it'll quite do it, though. It'll be interesting to see what that opening number is. I mean, if I was going to throw numbers on a roulette table, maybe fine, 40 to 50 million. I would maybe venture a guess. I mean, it's going to do very, very well. In fact, I won't be surprised if it owns October on the box office front, at least that month of October, and maybe end up being one of the top 20 of the year. So
that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be fantastic regardless. So I am wondering, though, how well it's going to do critically. And I know people say, well, screw the critics. We don't care. I mean, 2018 actually was very well received by the critics. Now I'm going to be interested to see if it actually gets even more acclaim or less acclaim.
It's going to get less. And I'm going to say this because you guys know this. You guys know this. You guys in the chat know this. A lot of these critics are pretentious D-bags. Okay. There's a lot of pretentious D-bag critics. And you're going to get, and you've seen it. You've seen it with sequels, especially horror sequels. You're going to see the complaints be an over-reliance on gore, way too many kills, way too much going on there. They're going to look at it at face value and be like, I didn't need all that gore. I didn't need all that craziness. I didn't need all that just killing to kill. And that's why it will be certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I will say that. It will have at least a 60%, but it is going to be less acclaimed than Halloween 2018, in my opinion. Anytime a sequel goes bigger and badder, any type of sequel, it automatically loses points in the critics' eyes. And I just don't know why. If it's even more enjoyable, why the hell is that a bad thing? I don't know. I don't get it.
I do want to throw something out there, though. Like, it does have the potential to still get great reviews, though, because you do have the same writers and directors behind it, the same team. And it might surprise us. Like, I'm with you, though, Nick. I'm thinking, okay, critics definitely aren't going to like it as much as the last movie. But then I look back at Devil's Rejects, and I think of that Ebert and Roper, 2 thumbs up, and I'm like, there is hope. There might be hope that critics are like,
Lionsgate put that quote right on the freaking disc art, case art. They're like, guys, look, they liked it. It's a good movie.
I think they're between. It would surprise me if critics don't, give this movie negative reviews. But do I think it's going to be the reviews are going to be as positive as the last one? Probably not. Again, like you said, Nick, perfectly, the gore and blood and kills.
Yeah, and that's critics for you. I want to say that over the past couple of weeks, we've done streams, and everybody in this chat right now, I have told you, Venom is not going to stay there October 15th. I held fast. I mean, I was steadfast in that belief that it is not going to stay there. And people are like, we had to talk about it on Region Free last week, Lorne and I. And Lorne made a good point when he said, you got to understand, the other is a Marvel property that has connective tissue to Spider-Man, and everyone and their mother is excited for Spider-Man No Way Home, it seems like. So the hype engine is there for Venom, and Halloween is more of a niche group. That is true, but that's why you release it in October, because you get every person that wants to see a scary movie to go out and see it. So we debated about it a little bit. I would have given the edge to Venom if they would have opened up together. I would have, just because it is going to be a little bit more palatable for some people, PG-13 action movie. But I don't think it was going to be this, Venom did 100 million, Halloween Kills did 40 million. No way. It wouldn't have been that vast of a gap in what they did. But I'm just glad that it moved, and I can say I was right. But moving on, Paulo Balboa wants to ask us, and I'm sorry, guys, the chat is live right now, so thank you so much. You guys kick ass. Keep it coming. Apollo Balboa wants to know, why do we think they're releasing Scream in January instead of this year? And I'll just start on my opinion. One, because January has no movies at all. I don't see any other major wide releases this January. So Spyglass is looking at that and they're going, oh, we can literally, anyone that's going to go to the movies is going to go see Scream. We'll have no competition. Yes, but right after the holidays, it is historically proven people don't go out and spend money. One, two, they especially don't go to the movies. So I feel like you're selling yourself a little bit short. I understand why you don't do it in October, because there's way too much competition there. But Scream isn't a movie that you need to put out in October. You could put Scream out in November. You could put Scream out in the spring. I mean, because it's not an event film. But I think that's their thinking, is that No one's going to go up against us, and we will just take all the tickets that are bought for a movie in January. And I want to go reverse this time. Stone, what do you think the reasoning is for that? Do you agree with the reasoning? And what are your thoughts on that release strategy?
In terms of bumping Venom back up, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. In terms of Scream opening in January.
Oh,
because it seems weird, you know what I mean? Because that's the month where movies go to die, like historically.
Yeah, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign if they're releasing in January. It gives like Black Christmas vibes.
Well, you know what else was released in January almost 2 years ago? That was criminally underrated because it was right as COVID started, and it got shoehorned in January. Underwater. I thought Underwater was a very enjoyable movie.
Yeah, very good one.
Oh,
but they sent that to the January graveyard. Now, I don't think the same rules apply here, though, because I can see there. It seems like this is strategic. Of if we release it in January, nobody will compete with us. So, but what about you, Justin? What do you think of that setup?
So I think it's my big reason why is the fact that like they filmed it in the pandemic, and you had all these 2020 movies being pulled for 2021. So they were like, well, what can we do? We don't want our movie to come out like so far in 2022. Let's put it in January. So I think they weren't thinking, oh, our movie sucks, the studio's going to put it in January. No, they were thinking, okay, we're filming this in a pandemic. What's the perfect time to do it? And it was January. So they don't want to wait too long, but they want their movie out there. But they have to wait until all these other films get caught up that were pulled because of the pandemic. That's my thoughts on it.
And I want to ask you guys about a certain film that I am incredibly excited for. I know Justin's excited for it. Stone,
yes.
You were talking about Diamonds Are Forever. Would you call yourself a Bond fan?
Yes. I to tell you the truth, I lost interest in No Time to Die for like a year for some reason. And then when it started creeping back up and I started watching podcasts from buddies talking about it, I thought, you know what? I'll probably end up going to see it in the theater. I mean, it is one of those spectacle movies and everything. And I love Daniel Craig as James Bond. I'm more of a casual Bond fan than a hardcore Bond fan at the same time. But
Daniel Craig pulls me in. I just love him.
Daniel Craig does pull me in. Yes, I love Casino Royale and I love Skyfall. Quantum of Solace was okay, and Spectre was... I don't remember a lot about Spectre, to be honest, and that's not good. But, I mean, I've seen all the Bond films, and I enjoy a lot of them. Some of them I find just downright boring. But Diamonds Are Forever is going to be interesting because that and Moonraker were the first Bond films I ever saw. So, I'll probably see No Time to Die just to add my voice to the conversation.
And the reason I want to mention No Time to Die is because we all know this is Craig's last outing as Bond, which I'm not happy about. I'm not ready to say goodbye there.
I'm just not either.
And we know, it's going to be hard, but we know that they also paid him, I believe it was reported, $25 million to do this film. And the budget's over $200 million. And with marketing and pushbacks, I read an article the other day that it was like they're approaching surpassing, I want to say $400 or $500 million in just promoting the movie and production budget and everything like that. And that worries me because we know MGM is not in a good position right now financially. That is a fact. And you are laying all your eggs into one basket with Daniel Craig's last Bond film. And I'll tell you one thing right now, if we weren't in, the situation we're in, the movie would have crossed $1 billion worldwide, just like Skyfall did, just because it's his last Bond film. And you got Rami Malek as the villain. You brought back Christoph Waltz. Like, you really are selling this thing. And like, I think it's still going to do really well, but it's just a bummer that MGM basically didn't come out and say it, but they essentially said they can't afford to push it back again because they need to get the returns from it as soon as possible. And it's a bummer. It's a bummer because I would love for them to push it until like the spring and then just rake in the cash. I will say too, the runtime for the film has been revealed, and they're definitely giving Craig a proper send-off. It is 2 hours and 52 minutes.
Wow.
So it is going to be quite a long one.
This is going to be the longest of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because if you are really trying to wrap up everything with Daniel Craig's James Bond, all of his villains, his past, his I guess now, I don't know if they're married, but like the girl that he basically fell in love with in Spectre, and is now with her. If you're trying to tie all these loose ends together, you can't do that in an hour and 45 minutes. And I think that was the biggest pitfall of Quantum of Solace. You introduced a lot, and it was like an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm just like, some people could watch Casino Royale and say it's boring. And I'm like, no, this is what a Bond film needs. It needs an hour and a half of exposition and character building and story before it gets into the like shit hits the fan. Whereas Quantum of Solace was like, hey, here's this new villain. Shit's hitting the fan. We don't know anything about him. We don't know his motives. We don't care. Shit's hitting the fan. And that was my problem with Quantum of Solace. Though I find enjoyment in it, it is the weakest of the Craig Bond films, undoubtedly. So,
yeah.
But Justin, I don't know. What about you? Are you looking forward to it? What do you think about this news?
I have been so excited for this ever since Spectre. I thought Spectre was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I was also really excited when we first saw the trailer. I was so pumped for it. We got a piece of the opening song, which is great. And also, I'm really sad Daniel Craig is leaving as James Bond, but I'm also really looking forward to seeing his final performance as this character. I personally would have moved this movie. If you don't want to move it, in 2022, I would have moved it in November. Somewhere in November. I think it would have been better fitting than October. That's my opinion. But I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to see it. I'm seeing it in theaters. I will see it. If I can't see it opening weekend, I'm definitely going to go see it very, very soon after it comes out.
And something that Stone said earlier that I want to kind of throw back to Stone is like he said he used to go to the movies all the time, and now it's more rare. For me, it's more rare too. I used to go all the time, but October, I'm going to be in the theater every damn weekend, like every weekend, seeing a new movie, and that's cool. That's cool. It's a cool, nice like return to a little bit of normalcy. I don't know. I mean, so Stone, you said you're going to see it in the theater. Is it bittersweet to you too?
In a way, I think it will be bittersweet. I mean, and here again, I mean, if I'm able to get a ticket, because as I said before, my deal with going to the theater is I will only go to the Alamo Draft House. That is that's my one reservation. It's the theater I'm the most comfortable at. You can get alcohol, you can get food, and they do have buffering with the seating and everything. And I think the customer base is pretty good and very respectful of each other. That there's nothing that really hopefully we'll worry about. But but I've only been to the theaters twice this year, and both back at the Alamo. I saw Black Widow, which was okay. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I mean, I thought, I'm sorry.
No, I personally loved it, but I could see kind of like the mixed feelings with it.
Never saw it.
Some things about it, yeah. And but the other film, which that was awesome. The first time I got back to the theater after over a year, I saw for the very first time on the big screen at the Alamo Draft House in New York, The Warriors, the Walter Hill picture of the street gangs and everything.
Nice.
That was the perfect movie to see after this whole thing and going back to the theaters for the first time. That was the perfect one to see. Oh my God. David Patrick Kelly from The Crow. He was epic in that movie. He really was. So, but I think like you, I will go to the theater almost every week in October. I mean, just double checking here. I'll try to watch. I'll watch the first Venom before the second one comes out, and I'll make a decision there. But No Time to Die, yes. Halloween Kills, yes. I'm still on the fence about Dune. Part of me does want to see it, and part of me is worried I may fall asleep. I'm just saying I do have that concern, but I am on the fence about it. I think based on the word of mouth, and then Halloween weekend, no question, Last Night in Soho, and that's unfortunately Antlers comes out that same weekend. I know that people were talking about that and how that's been a long time coming. Scott Cooper's Antlers with who's in that again?
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell, yeah. I mean,
I thought the trailer looked really good. I really did enjoy the trailer.
Mm-hmm. So I think, probably 4 or 5 films in October, which that'd be incredible.
Yeah, on top of that, we'll be in the movies in October. I'll be at Spirit buying stuff in October. I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm not going to have any money in October. Dear God. But you know what? That's fine. That's okay.
If I see any movie in November, it'll be just probably Ghostbusters Afterlife. That's the only one. Unless you guys are interested in Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City, but I'll pass.
I liked the first 3 Mila Jovovich Resident Evil films. I lost interest after that. I know that they're billing this as a return to like the video games and the origins really of Resident Evil, but no, it is not a movie I'll catch in theaters. I'm sure I'll watch it on video, but
I'm going to go see it in theaters for 2 reasons. One, they said this is going to be scary, which is hard to scare me, but I'm looking forward to more of a darker Resident Evil movie. And 2, it's the director who did Strangers Pray at Night, and I know he did the 2 47 Meters Down movies, but I just really love the first one. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Movies in November, I'm looking forward to Eternals. I cannot wait for that. I was surprised at how much I loved the trailer, and Ghostbusters. So those 3.
Yeah, and Ghostbusters has been getting good reviews, so we'll see about that. I've heard the early reactions, and I want to get into something, guys, because this is exciting. Everyone's talking about this, but I want to say really quick, Jaden, to your comment about my super chats. It's not even just my super chats; it's all the money I've made on my channel, which has eclipsed $300 by now, and it just grows and grows and grows. And I look at my analytics, and it says, here's how much you made. And I'm like, cool. I haven't made it because I don't get it, but cool. I've been emailing back and forth with Google support. And first they tell me, well, it's because you were monetized mid-July. So it didn't really show at the end of July for August. It's not going to show until the August report is done, which will be September 3rd. So then September 3rd comes around and I say, hey, guess what? It's not there. And he emails me back and he goes, oh, it'll be September 3rd through the 12th, somewhere in that time frame. I said, cool, awesome. Could you be any more ambiguous with me? It's pretty frustrating because I've told you guys before, the stuff that you put into the channel is going to be used to buy things for the room, to buy movies that I haven't seen that you guys want me to review and talk about. Money put into the channel goes back into the channel. It's a cycle here. And so frustrating as it is, but I digress. Now, Wednesday, we have the world premiere of Halloween Kills. And I want to say everything to everybody in the chat, right? I want to say something to everybody in the chat right now. Dave McRae did a stream on it, I believe, yesterday. I watched it last night when I was playing Star Wars Battlefront, the original Star Wars Battlefront. I threw it back last night. Just listening to it the whole time. And I want everybody in the chat here to know, I want to reiterate what Dave said. If you want to avoid spoilers, you better not be searching Halloween Kills anything on social media or on Google after Wednesday, because there will be an embargo, but people always slip through the cracks. And I'm telling you right now, you're going to get spoilers. If you want it spoiled, if you don't care if it's going to be spoiled, more power to you. I will read non-spoiler reviews of it. I will, because I want to know what the general, the critical audience thinks of it. But I would just be very weary about what you search for, because after Wednesday, all bets are off. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited that the world premiere is nearly here. I think it'll be really cool to see another world premiere take place where real humans are walking maskless down a red carpet. I think that'll be super cool. And people are congregating in a theater to watch a movie. I think that'll be really awesome. But be very weary. Be very weary if you're not the spoiler type. I know a lot of people read the leaked script. I didn't. I had no interest in it. You know what I mean? I'd rather see it play out on the screen.
Exactly.
This is how like non-spoiler I've been. I have yet to even listen to the score that was released by John Carpenter himself. Like I've stayed away from it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I have not listened to the music. The only thing I'm gonna see as far as like reaction goes, and I don't really I look at it once and then I go away, is I want to see how it carries over to Rotten Tomatoes. Like what are critics gonna think about it if it's on Rotten Tomatoes? After that, I'm done. Like I'm not gonna pay attention to like reviews or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I have not even listened to the release song or the release score. Like that is how like for me.
Well, it's just one song. Yeah, it's just the one song, Killable, and I freaking loved it. And Christian actually texted me when it came out, and like Christian has a tendency, like sometimes he'll just like text me something like random when he's really excited about something, which I think is cool. Like, you know, that he wants to start a conversation like that randomly. And he randomly texted me. He was like, dude, that new Halloween Kills track is kick ass. And I was like, oh, like you like it? And I was like surprised because like I know Christian's looking forward to Halloween Kills, but Christian isn't like me and Justin where we're like salivating. I would say Christian's more like Stone in the sense of like, yeah, I'm sure it'll be cool on the big screen. I'm sure it'll be fun, you know, like, but it's not like dude, I gotta be there. I can't wait. I'm pissing my pants. Like, that's pretty much how Justin and I are. Kenny, by the way, in the chat, thank you so much. I know I'm very happy with the poster game. Everybody kept telling me I need to get him framed. I need to find a way to get this bad boy in it more because that film is beautiful. This one right here, Rob Zombie's Halloween. Yeah, so just letting you guys know about spoilers. You know, just be careful.
T Parker. Hey, T Parker, this is the strongest I've probably ever been because when a trailer comes out of a movie or even reviews, I'm like, okay, let's go look at the reviews. Like I saw the one trailer for Halloween Kills that we all saw. After that, I'm like, okay, it's time for Justin to take a break and just wait till this movie comes out. So I've stayed away from the music and everything.
Hey Ken, thanks for being in here, buddy. As soon as this is over, I'll hop on over into your live chat for your live stream.
Love you, dude.
Buddy. Ken is actually dealing with COVID right now, so prayers and best wishes to you, buddy. He's fully vaccinated, so he has milder symptoms. So he's good enough to do a live stream and everything like that. So that's great. He is much luckier than a lot of people. So, but anyway, Stone.
Yes.
I never heard you talk on this topic, and maybe I'm sure you did on Region Free. I want to know your thoughts. Have you seen Candyman yet? And if you haven't, is it something you want to see? Are you trepidatious about it? What are your thoughts on it?
You know what? Here again, and this goes along with Halloween Kills, in that I've intentionally avoided the trailers. I learned my lesson actually just going back. I'll answer your question just to go back real quick. I learned my lesson after I thankfully avoided the trailers for the new Pet Cemetery because I walked into the theater completely cold on that one, and I was so grateful. I really liked it. I really liked the new Pet Cemetery.
Me too.
But I was lucky enough not to see the trailer, and I'm doing that the same way with Halloween Kills, and I'm doing it the same way with. Now, forgive me. I just what was the movie originally? Candyman. Yes, I have not seen the original Candyman since the 1990s, and I do need to rectify that.
You need to rewatch it before you see this film. I'm telling you that right now. There's so much. They build it as a spiritual sequel. It's not spiritual. It is a straight up sequel. Love the shirt, Justin. Yes.
I definitely want to see the new Candyman. I just need to revisit the original first, and particularly, I mean, bless Tony Todd. He follows me on Twitter, so I got to do it. So I got to do it. So I will watch the Candyman films the first again and the remake eventually. But is the Candyman remake? I mean, it's already done and gone here, unfortunately. But was it worth seeing on the big screen?
I saw it twice.
It's actually a sequel, like straight up. It's Anthony, the main character. It's not even a spoiler. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Never mind. I won't tell you. You want to go into it blind.
Yeah, not one word. Yeah.
That's why you need to watch it. But before you see this one, but yes, I would say it is worth seeing on the big screen because it is regardless of how you walk out feeling about it, it is beautifully shot. I mean, It looks incredible. The opening sequence is this just like camera upside down through a foggy city, and you're seeing the skyline, and it's just abstract and odd and strange. It's beautiful. I mean, it is a beautifully shot movie.
And for me, I saw it twice in theaters, and I loved it the first time. I loved it even more a second time. Like Nick said, the opening is amazing. I also love the music in this movie.
Yes,
like the music is so good. And again, I bought a T-shirt. That's how much I love this movie. So, yeah, I'm a huge fan of the original, the first Candyman film. And I think this movie is right up there with it. I loved it. So
now I don't know if you've seen. You're a cinephile, Stone. So
yes,
I'm sure maybe in your life you have come across Candyman: Farewell to the Flesh or Candyman: Day of the Dead, the sequels that they did in the '90s that are nowhere near on par to the. Actually, the third one is terrible. But this film, you don't need to see anything aside from the first one. The other two don't even exist in this timeline. It doesn't matter. This is a direct sequel. Ignore everything else. The movie is a character study, really, on the physical and mental deterioration of your main character, all while Candyman's cutting people up, and that's it really is. I know you and I have talked about, Stone, how one of the things you love about Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is the character study element, how these people are affected by what happened to them, and what realistic route would someone with no resources to get better take after those events happen. Candyman is similar in the sense of it is a character study about the deterioration physically and mentally, emotionally of a human being. And I think that you'll enjoy that aspect of it, no matter how you feel about the film when you walk out. I think that it's a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
I want to really quickly. It's art. Yes, art. I said Candyman. Here's the Skittles. Take them, dude. My favorite candy. You can have it, man.
Yeah.
Did either of you guys see Don't Breathe 2, just out of curiosity?
I haven't yet.
I did not. It was a movie that I loved the first one. I was really surprised by how much I liked the first one.
Me too.
My issue with it was it would have been a movie I probably would have seen in theaters, and then I saw the trailer and I said, I don't know about that, because the trailer makes the old man look like the hero, and I was like, this man is not a hero. I know maybe it's misleading. I know, but the marketing of that movie made it look like we're supposed to be rooting for this creep now, and I was like, I'll catch that on home video. When it comes to streaming, So
I'll say this real quick. I'm the only reason I'm sold now because the trailer looked okay. But the only reason I'm sold now is Ken from Sledgehammer Horror. I think loved it. I think he said it was better than the first movie, and he did a fantastic interview and episode with one of the actors from the movie. And I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to see it. But I didn't rush to see it in theaters.
Yeah, and Jaden, go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say, Jaden, it is on video on demand now. It is officially on video on demand if you want to rent it.
Okay. Well, I own Don't Breathe on Blu-ray, and I've seen it a couple times since buying it, and I really like it. This new one, I didn't see the trailer here again, but there were two things that concerned me. First of all, that Fede Alvarez was not directing this time. And second of all, no Jane Levy. And
Yeah.
I adore Jane Levy from Evil Dead and from Don't Breathe. And I thought, that's kind of a blow. And when the critic reaction came out and it was very 50-50, very split, I couldn't bring myself to the theater, unfortunately. But interestingly enough, because I've been wondering where the new Evil Dead movie is as well, I just read very recently that Fede Alvarez is apparently working on a brand new Zorro project of all things at Sony.
Really?
So, yeah, so he's got something big he's working on as far as Zorro is concerned. I mean,
well, you're familiar with the new Evil Dead film that's actually almost finished shooting right now, right? Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So finally, it's almost done.
Lee Cronin is directing it. He directed a movie called The Hole in the Ground, which I have not seen. But Campbell and Raimi are producing it, and they're not just now. I know that doesn't necessarily mean shit. Like, oh, they're producing it. Of course, they're getting a paycheck. But in this scenario, they've actually been on set multiple times. I believe Bruce Campbell even helped craft the story for it. They're very involved in this new film. And Lee Cronin, I follow Lee Cronin on Twitter, and he's a great follow because all he's posted the last 2 months are pictures from the set, and nothing like spoilery. He posted a pizza box that's a prop, and it says Henrietta's Pizza, and I absolutely loved that. And he keeps posting pictures of blood-soaked floors and walls every day. And it's making me so excited because that is telling me practical effects for the win are going to Evil Dead 2013. I mean, I'm sad Jane Levy's not back. I'm sad that we're just going to forget about the Mia storyline because I absolutely love that film with every fiber of my being. But the fact that we have the original creators on board as a part of this, the fact that we have a reliance on practical effects, sign me up. Sign me up. Yeah. That's what I need. I mean, I'm stoked.
My only problem with it, because I'm really excited to see it too, is I think it's just going to HBO Max, and I'm like, have faith and release your movie in theaters. I'm like, come on. Again, I don't mind streaming. I have the streaming services, but I'm like, a movie like that, come on.
Did you guys see Evil Dead 2013 in theaters?
I did.
Okay.
I adore it. I mean, Evil Dead is one of my favorite franchises. I loved Evil Dead just as much as the first 3 films. And on top of all that, and I'm going to say it 1,000 times until people understand, look, Michael Myers was in Halloween 3, Jason Voorhees was in A New Beginning, and yes, Bruce Campbell was in Evil Dead 2013. Even if it was a little cameo at the end, I don't care. That was enough for me.
Well, and I wanted to mention that because I don't know if you guys, I think this, by the way, Devin, hello, and Crying, what's up? Yes, I have seen the trailer, but they have not. We talked about it earlier, if you want to catch it on the playback. The reason I mentioned the thing about Evil Dead 2013 and seeing it in the theaters is because I think part of the reason they're putting this on HBO Max is because they're worried that it's not going to, it doesn't have the name recognition that some of these franchises do. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Evil Dead 2013 was a surprise box office hit. I mean, people did not expect that to do as well as it did commercially and critically. It was well received around the board. And that's when people were pushing Alvarez okay, you got to make a sequel. You resurrected this franchise. You got to make a sequel. The problem was so many studios were like, no. We want you to make a movie for us. We want you to make a movie for us. And he got involved in so many other projects. So then Starz greenlit the TV series Ash vs. Evil Dead, which I really enjoyed. But because the viewership of that show went way down as it went on, and because people were pirating it, the ratings were just terrible near the end of it. It went in the can. It was done. And so I think they're doing this as it's almost like I don't want to say a taste test, but you know what I mean when I say that, let's put it on HBO Max. Let's see how many households watch it. And if we get pretty damn good viewership, then maybe the next route is a theatrical film. And I believe Sam Raimi said a few months ago that, and Alvarez has also said, they do not feel like their story is done from Evil Dead 2013. I believe that the hope is that they still revisit that. So if Evil Dead Rise does really well on HBO Max, maybe they say, screw it. Let's do a sequel to Evil Dead 2013. Let's bring back Jane Levy and let's do the original idea, which was to have her then cross paths with Ash Williams. Now, even if they don't do that, just bring her back because she was fantastic. She's one of my favorite final girls in horror history. Just period. She was fantastic.
I'll be the first one. Like I've already said it before. When I first saw Evil Dead 2013 in theaters, I wasn't a fan. But now rewatching it over and over, I love it. Like there's something about the movie that always pulled me back in, and it's one of my favorite remakes now. So one of my favorite reboot.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Reboot.
Watch what you say.
I love it. I know. Reboot.
Yes.
But I love it now. I love that one. So
I think it's great. I mean, I think all 4 films are great. I find enjoyment in all 4 of them. I mean, that's one of those franchises, where I don't look and go, okay, there's a dud here, there's a dud there.
They're all, yeah.
It's a wonderful quartet.
Yes.
It is. I agree.
It's a wonderful quartet. Yeah.
Now, I want to mention something to you guys. Stone, I know Justin is. Are you a fan of the 2007, 8, 9, whichever year you want to call it, the Michael Dougherty directed horror anthology Trick or Treat?
I'm trying to remember if I ever watched it. I don't think I did. Horror anthologies are
It's fantastic though. I understand where you're coming from. It's fantastic. I wanted to. The reason I bring it up is because we still have no word on a sequel to that, and it got announced like 4 years ago, and then by Legendary Pictures, and then nothing. Now I love what Michael has done since then. He directed Godzilla King of the Monsters. I don't care what anybody says. I loved that film.
I love it
Me too. I own it. Yeah.
I mean, I saw it 4 times in theaters. I think it's my favorite of the MonsterVerse up to this point, just because seeing King Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra, and it's so fantastic. Beautiful movie. I love it. And I loved Krampus. He directed both of those films.
I love it too. Love both.
I mean, I don't know. I'm like waiting on that. I don't know. I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm still bummed that we haven't gotten that. I mean, we're getting sequels to a lot of older properties. We're Hocus Pocus 2 next year.
Hey, I'm excited. Cannot wait for that. I'm looking forward to it. I've been waiting. But I was going to say about
Stone, are you a fan of Hocus Pocus?
I haven't seen that since 1993.
Yeah, see, and I totally understand, but it's like you're like, damn, 30 years later, we're getting a sequel.
30 years later,
people like, okay.
Well, hey, I loved Bill and Ted Face the Music. I mean, that was a rare time where they did it right. I love that one. Yeah.
You know why I'm really excited for Hocus Pocus? I do love the movie, but Hocus Pocus was the last drive-in experience I saw back in '93. I was 5 years old, so I'm really excited just to see another Hocus Pocus movie because of that. So,
you guys hear something that I found out the other day? You're speaking about the drive-in, Justin.
What?
I was talking to my mom. I guess when I was like 7 or 8, I accompanied my mother. I think, it was not just me, but we went to the drive-in. I don't remember it, but I guess one of the movies showing there was Halloween Resurrection. So I guess technically I saw Halloween Resurrection in theaters, and I feel dirty. I don't remember it, but I feel dirty. Like I don't know.
Nick doesn't remember it, but he probably looked at the screen and said, "I love that movie."
I want to say I probably was asleep.
I know.
And that's why I don't remember it, but I mean, it's so that was a way to traumatize me.
I saw Resurrection in the theater, and I just remember I could feel the groans in the theater in the beginning when Jamie Lee Curtis gets killed. I'm like, why? The most unceremonious, ridiculous, incomprehensible, offensive horror heroine death you could ever imagine, and they did in Resurrection. The rest of the movie is mediocre at best. I mean, you know, the whole Busta Rhymes. Oh God, all that stuff with Busta Rhymes is so lame. You know, I mean, aside from that, everything else, there's some good little things here. I mean, the mask I thought was okay. I mean, you know, I don't believe the house would be like this mansion with all these tunnels and everything. And just, oh, come on, it really stretched things. But we did a commentary for that. I'm so sorry. We did a commentary for that for Sausage Factory, and I just remember everybody agreed at the end. You know, this is not a good movie, but you know, when you watch it with a group, it can be fun. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, you're okay. No, I'm just okay. I was gonna say, like, for me, I hate the opening because I didn't see it in theaters, but I remember like some people were telling me Jamie Lee Curtis dies. I said, no, she doesn't die. She doesn't die. And I finally saw it, and I still hate the opening. But if you get past that, for me, I think Halloween Resurrection is like a fun ride you go on. It's not great. It's enjoyable. Like I'm a softie for it. I'll always be a softie for it. If I had a mic, I would throw my mic down on the ground, but I don't have one. But I'm a softie for Halloween Resurrection.
I have to admit, at the very, very least, that the dated tech is fascinating now. I mean, that was one aspect upon revisiting it that they were like, hey, this stuff was state of the art at the time. I mean, you look back now, it's like nobody uses this stuff anymore.
Oh, so
it was only 20 years ago. I mean, it is fascinating. I don't think it's the worst Halloween film. I'm not going to say which one, but second to worst. I mean, it's pretty.
If it's Halloween 5, you better just zip it.
Halloween 5, which to me, by the way, I have to say it because I say it everywhere. Halloween 5, it is just Halloween 5. I only go by what's on the screen. It is not the Revenge of Michael Myers. I've always hated that stupid slapped on the video subtitle. I mean, it's just Halloween 5.
Well, I want to throw this. Well, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah,
I'd say Halloween franchise as a whole is one of those franchises where I can watch every one of them and find something I enjoy with every one. Halloween Resurrection's my least favorite, but again, I'm kind of a softie because I can watch it. And
right. I get you.
Now, I want to ask you guys. Want to throw this to the chat as well and just see how everybody else is feeling about this. How are we feeling about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre getting purchased by Netflix and going straight to Netflix? Do you take that as kind of the death knell for that movie? Kind of like, they clearly did not believe in this movie, and now they're just going to put it straight to streaming.
I would say no. I mean, to me, that doesn't signal a death knell for the franchise or even for the film itself. I mean, the weird thing about Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the last few films have hardly done any box office. I think that franchise has been struggling for a while. And not to say that I saw the 3D movie and I did not like that. Even though
me neither.
It's a shame. I mean, Adam Marcus, I like him as a filmmaker. I mean, but his touch couldn't help that. I mean, it just the way they would try to incorporate 3D in there was just ludicrous beyond comprehension. And I didn't watch the Leatherface one, even though I heard okay feedback on that. The last one,
I thought it was okay.
You thought it was okay? Yeah. I mean, look, at least they're experimenting with different ideas, even in 3D. You know, they did experiment with different ideas and try to approach this family and everything in different methods. And I think they're running out of avenues here almost. But if it goes to Netflix, I mean, and it's going to be a movie, not a series, is that correct?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's already been filmed. It's done. They've done their test screenings. It's done. It's wrapped up. And there, I think the problem was getting a distributor to have confidence in a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie in the middle of a pandemic to put it out as a wide release. So I think they just said, screw it. We're not going to play this game. Let's just put it on streaming and we'll see how it does there. And I totally respect it. I mean, I do. And I hear everything you're saying and I agree with you. You know, I don't think it's the death knell for it either. But it does make one worry because Leatherface, the last one, was straight to DVD. And then the one before that, Texas Chainsaw 3D, had a decent opening weekend and then dropped like a freaking brick in the ocean. I mean, it did okay opening weekend and just fell. I mean, I remember seeing the box office reports after opening weekend and they were like, oh, they may have a hit on their hands. And then it was just like, I mean, just no one went and saw it anymore. I know, Justin, you're a fan of 3D, but I just want to ask you as well, you know, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this going to Netflix? How do you feel about it?
Well, I want to say 3D I saw twice in theaters again. So
you are one of the ones that went back and saw it.
I'm a fan.
That's cool.
But yeah, I mean, my only problem with it going straight to Netflix is, you know, Netflix is known, and it's very rare that they release something on physical media. So being physical media fans, I'm like, okay, how am I going to complete my Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Especially if it's good. Like, what if it's good and you can't buy it? And you're like, you bastards. I've got half of this franchise is and you give us a good one and I can't even buy it on physical media. Like, I'd be pissed.
Here's my thing about I don't think the studio's looking at that movie and going, this movie's a piece of crap. Let's release it to Netflix. I think they're in the same situation like we were in the beginning of this pandemic of, where do we release our movie in theaters? Do we wait until 2022 to release this, or do we release it as soon as the fans can see it? I would love to see it on the big screen. I
know, and I would too, but I told you guys about the test screening reactions. They had to do reshoots because Terrifier 2, I don't know, Matt. I don't know when that's coming out, but I know that's done. So maybe they're just waiting on that as well. I also don't know, Art, when it's releasing, when Texas Chainsaw is releasing. I just know that it's been purchased. But the test screenings for this new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie were overwhelmingly negative because apparently there was a plot line in the film about being anti-gun. And people saw that as a problem because they were like, you know, agendas aside, you know, that's another conversation. But this is a movie taking place in Texas. You're being chased by a maniacal dude with a chainsaw. Wouldn't you think you'd want to have a gun in that instance? Yeah. And I guess this movie was pushing this total anti-gun narrative in the Deep South, being chased by a cannibal. So they went back and did reshoots, and hopefully they addressed that. But I remembered hearing those test screening reactions from people, and I was like, that's dumb as shit. No other way to put that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if either of you guys are fans of this little Australian horror franchise called Wolf Creek. But the third film is supposed to be coming out very, very soon. I think they started photography of it in the past year. And we better. I mean, John Jarrett's not getting any younger. I mean, considering the fact I'm weird in that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the I guess you could say torture porn subgenre of horror. I mean, the Hostel films, those are just not my thing. Wolf Creek is the exception to that. I found both of those films and the television series a lot of fun, very intense, very suspenseful, and John Jarrett is just as Mick Taylor, the bloodthirsty killer of the Outback. I mean, he is just, I love that guy. He's awesome.
That was a movie that was a blind buy by me. Wolf Creek, when I was a teenager, it was a blind buy, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't seen the second one, but I loved the first one.
Mm-hmm. I love the first one so much.
Well, what's rare for of course, horror films not getting a lot of award recognition, but that one got 7 Australian Academy Award nominations.
Oh,
it didn't
wow.
win any, but it got 7 nominations.
Yeah, it seems like whenever we do get the nominations, we still don't get the award.
We still don't
But,
get
like,
the award.
No. Bullshit. And one of the biggest travesties of this decade was Toni Collette not getting shit for Hereditary, not even getting recognized.
I said when that happened, because I've been a Toni Collette fan since 1994, since she became a star because of a Australian film called Muriel's Wedding.
Love it.
I've adored Toni Collette in everything since then, and I said, look, oh my God, why is the Academy nominating a musical diva with 0 acting experience over Toni Collette, who has over 25 years of acting experience? I'm not trying to dump on Lady Gaga. I'm just saying, though, why? Why did you ignore Toni Collette completely? To me, it's the most offensive. It's the most offensive since Anthony Perkins wasn't nominated for the original Psycho back in 1960. It's going to come back to haunt the Academy. I'm telling you.
And I will say, I did think that Lady Gaga did a very good job in A Star Is Born.
I love her.
She did a very good job. But what Toni Collette was asked to do, to literally fall apart throughout a movie and just descend into insanity, she played that. I mean, just masterfully. If you are a teacher teaching acting, if you are teaching students on how to act, show them that movie. Show them that movie, because that is a masterclass.
I'll be, and I've said it before, I'm not a big fan of the movie as a whole, Hereditary. I think it's pretty good, but her performance is fantastic, and she should have been nominated. That is why I go back and watch the movie. I watch it for her performance.
It was the performance of the decade. I really feel it was the performance of the decade.
Yeah.
That's how much
what's her name? Lupita Nyong'o or whatever. Didn't she win in Us?
No, she didn't get nothing. She didn't get nominated at all. That was another performance where I was like,
I'm not in that. And see, that's different with me. I'm not a big fan of Us, but I thought she did a really good job in that movie.
She should have been nominated. I think Tony
horror just gets the shaft. I mean, at this point, we're just used to it.
I mean,
we don't get.
The Lighthouse should have gotten a ton of nominations. It barely got cinematography, but that should have been a given. I mean, they shot it in 1.19 aspect ratio to make it look like a film that was made in the last half of the 19th century. Oh my God, brilliant! And only the cinematography got nominated. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. There's another. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you need to see it. I think it's The Night House. The Night House of this year.
It came out.
About that. Yeah.
Love the movie, and Rebecca Hall is amazing in it. And I know she won't get looked at because the Academy doesn't look at horror movies.
I'm a massive Rebecca Hall fan. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
She's amazing in it, though. Like, again, another performance where when you see the movie, I don't know like how you'll feel about the movie itself. I personally loved it, but her performance, amazing. And that's going to be another performance where the Academy is not going to look at it.
Yeah. We could go on all day about it. It is what it is. Right now, guys, I want to open this up to the chat for you for a few minutes. We're about to wrap up, but I want to, if you guys have any questions, you have any comments, whatever you got, throw them our way before we wrap up. And don't leave yet. Like I said, we are not wrapping up this minute. This is your portion now in the chat to ask us questions and give us comments and, whatever you deem necessary. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame. It is a shame that horror gets the shaft. Christian has a line that he gives a lot, and it's very true. It's not really a line. Hey, what's up, Jeff? It's more about by the way, crying, thank you. The next thing is the floating shelves. I'm getting floating shelves on the wall too, so I can display some more stuff on the walls. So it's definitely coming together. I appreciate that. But Christian says, Why don't they remake? He always gives comedy example. Oh yeah, Caddyshack. That's what he always says. He's like, why is it always horror? Why does horror always get remade? Why does horror always get the shaft with nominations for awards? Because the mainstream casual moviegoers, they don't take us as seriously. A lot of people think we're weird. And you know what? That's fine. That's totally fine. You can think I'm weird. You can think we're all weird, but to just give these actors and actresses the shaft because you think that our genre is not meant to be taken as seriously as some others is quite funny, because some of the most influential films ever made are horror films. The Universal monsters from decades and decades ago literally are so impactful for modern cinema, whether it's modern action, sci-fi, horror. It's all things from those types of movies from that era. Hitchcock. I mean, you could talk about Hitchcock all day and how influential he was. And people look now and they see all these sequels to these properties, and they're basically just like, oh my God, it's so, it's basically gotten to the point where it's diluted and watered down, and it's crap, and it's overdone, and it's yada, yada, yada. But look back at the source material. John Carpenter's Halloween is a cinematic triumph. Psycho is a cinematic triumph. John Carpenter's The Thing, a cinematic triumph. Look at some of the Birds, some of these old classic horror films that you can look at reiterations of them now and say, oh my God, this is so dumb, blah, blah, blah. But the reason those are made now is because of how influential and how impactful and important those original films were. And they're made so newer audiences are reintroduced to such a classic story. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because if it's a reboot, a remake, a sequel, and it sucks, guess what? You still have the original that you can go back to, but it's reintroducing a new audience to a character, to a story that meant so much to so many people, that changed cinema as we know it. So, the mainstream people and the casual moviegoers can shit on us all they want. Quite frankly, I know when I die, all these movies I have, a lot of them, they're worth something. They're worth something. They have a spot in history. And I'm proud. I'm happy,
I'll say this, my favorite movie of all time, and people are like, this is your favorite movie of all time? And I'm like, yes, it is. Halloween 1978, my favorite movie of all time. T. Parker mentioned James McAvoy for Split. He should have been nominated, and I agree. Loved his performance. Loved his performance.
And I always go back to the double bill of Jeff Goldblum in The Fly and Dee Wallace in Cujo. And when I found out recently that Dee Wallace and Danny Pintaro, that was supposed to be set in the heat of summer, where they're dying of heat exhaustion and the asthma attacks and everything. They actually filmed that in ice cold temperatures.
Wow. Wow.
Watch it again with that knowledge. Watch it again with that knowledge, and I think it will play a little differently to you. I'm so lucky. I own the limited edition set right here.
Oh, I love it. Yes, that is beautiful.
Love it.
Crying in the chat wants to know if we are excited for the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV show. I could care less. I'll probably eventually watch it, but I could care less.
I'll say this. I'm not excited for it, but as I'm seeing more, I'm like, okay, I'll watch it. I love the original movie, and I love the sequel, but I don't know. We'll see. James Wan is behind it, and he's directing the pilot episode, so.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a TV show. Oh, it might be interesting.
TV show.
Can I say that I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer? It was the very first movie I saw after I escaped from Navy boot camp in 1997. I will never forget that opening shot across the North Carolina coastline. Gorgeous. I love the music that comes in. Even the titles. I mean, I love everything about that opening, and I love the mystery that opens up at the end. But man, it just amazes me. I was disappointed with the lack of humor, I will say. But the thing is that I mean, Kevin Williamson, that he thought of this idea basically, having Gordon's fisherman fillet one day. I mean, it's just like, look at the package. It's like, there you go. There's a killer for a movie, you know. And I did not like the sequel. Did they make a third film? I think, or
yeah, but we act like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, actually, it doesn't exist. Yeah.
I'll always remember going to the video store, and it was one of those video stores that was attached to a mini grocery store, and my dad, like, looking at the cover to I Know What He Did Last Summer. I knew what it was because I saw the trailer as a kid. But he's like, Justin, you should rent that family movie. And I'm like, is he serious right now? And I was like, sure, I'll rent it. And then I told him it was R-rated, and he's like, whatever, just watch it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get around to watching it, I'm sure. But it's not something that I'm like, oh my God, about. I will say, I will be going to see Malignant this week, and I will do a review for Malignant on the channel this week. That is James Wan's long-awaited return to horror. He's been directing other genre films, other genres, and I'm excited to see his return to horror. And the trailer looks incredibly interesting, like a supernatural crime mystery thriller. I mean, it looks really good. So I'm excited to go see that. I will probably see that Thursday and do a review. Are you going to see that this weekend, Justin?
I hope I could see it because I really want to see it. So I'm planning on it. But Crying, I don't like everything. I just forget the bad stuff in my head.
He doesn't. Now, do you, Stone? I know you said you usually avoid trailers and whatnot. Have you heard anything about Malignant? Is that something you think you'll end up checking out?
Malignant, possibly.
It's been flying under the radar. It really has. But it's James Wan.
James Wan film, yeah.
I think it looks really good.
It does. Like, I'm excited for it.
And James Wan has yet to steer me wrong. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I look at his catalog, and even some of his ones that I don't love, like Dead Silence. I really enjoy Dead Silence.
Dead Silence.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Saw, I really enjoyed the first Saw. I love the Conjuring films, like Insidious. I love Insidious. James Wan just hasn't really steered me wrong, so I have no reason to think that I'm not going to like this film.
He's like Mike Flanagan. Like, James Wan doesn't stir me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm a champion of Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
Which was it was a Death Wish movie, but it was a hell of a lot better than the Bruce Willis remake.
Yes.
Way better than that.
Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank everybody that's been in here tonight. I want to thank you guys for being so active in the chat. I want to thank Bill for the super chat. That means a lot, buddy. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you, all of you, for taking your time taking the time out of your day to be here with us. I want to thank Stone for coming on. As I said, Stone is a top tier patron. So rather than a video request, he was like, hey, man, screw it. Let's do a live stream. Let's just shoot the shit. And I said, you got it, man. Sorry that I had to move it forward. Obviously, unforeseen events happened. You know, you were very cool about it. So I don't worry. I appreciate that.
No problem.
But yeah. Stone, thank you. Justin, as always, thank you, buddy. And I want to let everybody know tonight at 9:30 Eastern, I will be live with Christian Hanahara, and we're with another live episode of the You Need a Horror podcast. And tonight's topic, I think we're just perusing the news. I think he wants to talk Halloween Kills. He wants to talk Venom. He wants to talk Candyman. He wants to talk Malignant. We're really just going to cover like all of the things that people are talking about. We're going to do it in a live format so everybody can engage and interact with one another. So make sure you tune in at 9:30 Eastern on Christian Hannah Horror's channel. Leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Go ahead and check out Stone's channel, Stone Gasman. As always, check out Ryan 1988. And Stone, what's your Twitter handle? Just so everybody that wants to follow you can throw you a follow.
At Stone Gasman, just go to that and you'll see Samantha Robinson from the Love Witch, the star of the poster behind me, Anna Biller's film. She is showcased in the front. And as I said before, right before we started, in 2015, the two best films of the year I thought were both witch films. Robert Eggers, the Witch, and Anna Biller's the Love Witch. Check them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I want to say, Stone, it was a pleasure meeting you and talking with you. This was so much fun.
Say vice versa, Ryan. Vice versa. Absolutely.
I really liked the kind of free flowing discussion. No topic, just bounce from this to that. I think it really lended itself. I think it was very useful for this type of format. Like just to kind of talk with what people wanted to talk about, what we wanted to talk about, and not pigeonhole ourselves into one specific topic for 2 hours, because sometimes that can get a little drawn out. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be it for us tonight, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. We love you. And hopefully I'll see all you guys tonight at 9:30 on Christian Hannah Horror's channel. So this is Nick, Justin, Ryan 1988, and Stone signing off.
Bye, guys.